Hi everyone, my name is Priya Gill Liaudet. I am a divorce and family lawyer. I help and support those going through a difficult time at home with a constructive and amicable approach. And welcome to the second video in our series of videos discussing the divorce process. During this series, you'll be able to achieve and understand how to get a good divorce with clarity, purpose and direction throughout. And in this video, we're going to be focusing on your rights and how to understand the divorce process and coming up with a plan.
Hello, I'm Jane Parslow. I'm a transitions coach and I support people going through the big life transition that is a divorce or separation. So I'll be talking this time about how a plan can help you deal with overwhelm in the early stages of a divorce. So Priya, last time we talked about finding a solicitor in the first place. Perhaps it would be helpful now to talk about what to expect at your first meeting with a solicitor.
Yeah, thanks, Jane. So at the first meeting, it's usually a no obligation appointment. So you can go there and tell the solicitor about your story, how you're feeling, what's concerning you, and they will set out your rights and options. And they will most probably explain the divorce process to you. And the divorce process can sound rather complicated. There's lots of legal terms that you might not understand, but the solicitor will set them out because it's their duty to let you know how it will go and what the timescales will be. And they'll also explain the difference between the divorce and the finances. So your financial settlement does form part of your divorce, but it is dealt with separately. So they'll explain that, and they'll also explain what will happen to any children that you have and how to deal with any arrangements for the children. So it's really helpful to have a solicitor that you feel comfortable with, because they are essentially going to be, managing all the stages of the divorce process with you, whilst taking your instructions and helping you get through the process in an amicable and constructive fashion.
So it sounds like there's quite a lot happens at that first meeting, which will be a lot of new information, which is great. But I think that I find talking to people that there's almost too much happens. So maybe just something really simple like taking a notebook to make sure that you've written down what the solicitor is advising. Or maybe even, I guess most solicitors are open to you taking a friend maybe who can make notes on your behalf.
Absolutely. There is quite a lot of information at the first meeting, and you're probably quite upset and maybe a little bit afraid to speak to someone about what's been going on. So having someone with you is really helpful, because they can sit there and take the notes on your behalf for you.
Yes, and I think it is important to be aware of how you're feeling, and that solicitors will be really aware of that most people are going to be worried, distressed, scared even of taking this big step. And we will be talking in another video about how you can manage those emotions yourself. But I think it's reassuring to know that the solicitor is quite used to that it's common for people to turn up, but not in the best of states.
Absolutely. Most family solicitors are very supportive, and so they'll be very aware of how you're feeling, and they'll let you tell your story however you want to. But if that still feels quite overwhelming, there is another support system that you can use, and that's a coach. And Jane, perhaps you can tell us a bit more about how a coach can help.
Yes, well, I think it is about that awareness of emotions, that sometimes it's all inside us. And one thing I would do coaching people is to encourage you to talk about that, to talk about how you would prefer to be feeling. And there are various techniques we can use to be able to kind of put on the right state of mind, so to speak, before a meeting. I think the other thing is what you were just talking about, that it is a partnership, that it's not all down to you and it's not all down to the client. You're working together to develop this, as you say, amicable and clear process. And that's something else I would coach people about, it is to distinguish between what's down to you and what's down to your solicitor. We can only control the bits that are in our control, so to speak. And that's a useful distinction to make. And I would encourage people at that first meeting to ask the questions, what will I have to do when, what will you be doing? Because it's going to sound like a lot that that the divorcing person has to do, but actually each week there may only be one or two things they have to do. And again, coaching would help lay that out and just gently nudge people. You know, there's only one phone call you have to make this week. Have you made it? When are you going to do it? What will happen at the end of it? So once a big process like divorce is broken down into those separate steps, I think it starts feeling a lot more manageable for people.
I think trying to keep it as simple and uncomplicated as possible is really key to managing the divorce process, as well as having the support from a legal representative and a coach. It will just help you through the transition as smoothly as possible.
Yes, and I think we talked last time, didn't we, about trust, and that's one thing to start establishing at this first meeting is not just can I work with this person, but how will we be working together to manage that process between us.
We hope you found this video useful, and do get in touch if you have any questions. We'll be happy to answer them, and our contact details are below. See you next time.